So Netflix, it looks like they are regretting the 85 million pound deal with Meghan Markle as her show with Love has flopped. The investment has not paid off. This is what you're seeing, okay? It looks like the Netflix bosses are regretting this deal with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry following the backlash of Meghan's new show. As an insider has just now revealed that Meghan's show with Love, as it premiered on March 4th, is giving fans insight into her life from away from the cameras. I don't think that's away from the cameras. I think that's with the cameras. Her fake in front of the cameras, because you're not really getting true behind the scenes insight of anything that Meghan does. If you were, you would be seeing things that she would be doing behind the scenes with herself and her family, but you don't get to see that. And that's what the Netflix bosses originally wanted. They wanted the spy on the wall type insight, because I think that would have been a much bigger ratings boost for Meghan's.
I have to admit it, for the last 3 years that I've been consistently making content, I have followed Megxit. I have followed the whole story of Meghan Markle. And I'll admit it, a lot of people they're just not receptive to her. There's something so inauthentic about her. There's something that she just comes across as she's hiding who she really is, that she's pretentious, that she is narcissistic, and a lot of people feel that way, okay? And if you don't know P. Dinah, you can go follow P. Dinah, because she's great. She does a lot of videos and content about the royal family, about Harry and Meghan, about other members of the royal family, and she's even talked to Samantha Markle and Thomas Markle Jr., who I'm also friends with on YouTube. He's got a channel as well. Those are the half-sister and half-brother of Meghan Markle. She's done interviews, great content, and I don't disagree with a lot of these opinions, but I'm not going to lie. I watched Harry and Meghan, and I found so many inconsistencies, so many lies. The Oprah interview, that was just it. That was when everything declined. Everybody was like, nope, we're done. But that's based on other people's opinions. And I very much followed suit. Not that other people were forcing me to have the same opinion, right? But it's just, I was seeing the same things. And I thought, this is so different than Princess Diana. The world loved Princess Diana because she was imperfect, because she was human, because her emotions got the best of her, like we all do. We all sometimes have days or times or moments where our emotions just get the better of us. We react. Sadness, happiness, this whole constant, everything has to be fun. Everything has to be elevated. Everything has to be luxury. Everything has to be great. You can be present by being joyful and love. It's just not a reality. Okay, people are not going to force this fake happiness and joy all the time to come across as this wonderful, amazing person, and then behind the scenes doing these false allegations against people, disowning their own family, when really their own family was in the middle of having a physical health crisis and should have had the support and the help of the people that have the support and the resources to help them, and instead get mad at doing the same thing that they do, which is very hypocritical, and then to act like that person's just gone, disappeared. The show, I didn't really hate the show. I watched it and I actually thought, oh wow, she's actually trying to be relatable. She's trying to be relatable and shows the side of her and how she operates. But the thing is, people don't want to see what you cook for your kids. People want to see your real family, the same way that Princess Diana understood that relationship with the press. She even manipulated the press. She was notorious for doing so to her benefit. She did that all the time. But she let people see her really as a mother. She let them see her boys, who were the heir and the spare. She let people in. She let people see her raw emotion. She brought awareness to things, not for her own personal financial gain. She brought awareness because she truly was one of the really rare, truly altruistic people who cared about the betterment of humanity. So I watched the show, and I know that Meghan put a very big emphasis on diversity, right? She has somebody that is a Korean chef come in. She has somebody that is the founder of a very high luxury, not even going to say the names of any of the restaurants or brands, very high luxury skincare line. She brings in somebody who is a Hispanic chef. She brings in somebody who is a humanitarian, and she does these episodes. She brings her African American friends. She brings her Caucasian friends. She brings her Asian friends or her Hispanic friends and has them over. And it's like, great. She's showing she's diverse, but it's forced. That's the thing. It's forced. And people are like, well, it's kind of boring. And the thing is that Netflix is very disappointed because it went to like one of the top spots in the number 10 at Netflix. And it very quickly dropped down to 9, which means that a bunch of people were hate watching it, but didn't continuously watch it all the way through, that it didn't hold their attention. But people are just kind of frustrated because there's been constant rebrands and nothing substantial of substance is coming from all of these rebrands. She doesn't, the whole Megxit thing, they split from royal life. That means you don't get the titles. You're not doing the job, you don't get the titles. You're not doing the job, you don't get the money. You're not doing the job, you don't get to have all the benefits, right? You don't get to pick all the good and throw away all the bad and say, that's just not how it works. Using monograms and emblems that are very reminiscent of the royal family. Constantly nothing but negative stuff about Meghan Markle. And I liked her in the beginning. I really did. I really did like her. And I was rooting for Harry. I'm like, yeah, he finally found somebody. Although I thought, the woman that he was with for a very long time, that they would finally get married because they really seemed like they were a good fit. But it's just more about how the show is not good. It's plummeted. It's not holding people's attention. It's mediocre content as a whole. And talking about all her first products. This was said like almost 2 years ago when she came up with the Americana Riviera Orchard Riviera Americana, whatever the heck it's called. You know what I'm talking about. That's when she gave everybody 50 jars of her jam. Yeah, there's a difference between jelly, jam, and fruit preserves, Meghan, not just jam and spread. There's a whole difference between jelly, jam, and fruit preserves. I've actually done a video about it before, but she finally unveils that as ever. This was supposed to be the stuff that was supposed to come out with Americana or American Riviera, Orchard Riviera, whatever. This was supposed to come out for that, but then she rebrands it as ever, cookies, teas, jam, and more. Well, that's Prince Charles, now King Charles III. That's always been his whole thing. And that idea came from Princess Diana herself when he first started really turning Highgrove into a big garden and doing spirits. A big part of her thing was telling him, the whole tea and biscuits, teas and crumpets. That's the whole epitome of British life, everyday British life, not just luxurious high estates, dukes and lords. He actually has entire gift baskets that you can get that has jam, that has cookies, that has teas in it. Tea towels. You can get ornaments. You can get plates. And by the way, the original 1981 Princess Diana and Prince Charles tea kettle is a very limited edition. And the original 1967 Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip tour of Canada. Yeah. I know somebody that has 2 of them because her mother, it's a really, really dear friend of mine. She's going to give them to me in her will. But yeah, I'll take a picture of them next time I go to her house. But yeah, they're going to be mine. But they still sell these, limited edition cups and whatnot. He's even made cologne based off of Highgrove. He does spirits. But he does jams, biscuits, and teas. So you notice something here? She's trying to take British culture and make it into an American product. 1776, anybody? Isn't there a whole reason why we broke from Britain and became independent? Yeah. So Netflix is regretting, just like Spotify did, having worked with Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, because they're like, okay, we're getting the hate views at the beginning, but not the full views. So to get back into it really quick before my phone dies, this is my part two. Just speaking my opinion, I watched every episode and I actually liked it. I thought it was lighthearted. I think it was fun. I think she did a really well job of maintaining her children and her husband's privacy by having a rented cottage which reflects their home and their garden, but without actually showing their house. Although they actually do show Archie's real chickens and Meghan going and getting them. So they did do some filming at their real house, but they still preserve their privacy, which nobody can deny that is a good thing. Okay. They got a 5 and a 3-year-old. They deserve to have that privacy. But everybody that I have seen that has been I'm not talking about P. Dinah. Okay. She's really great. I think she's also very fair. But I've seen a lot of videos about Meghan Markle. People are just literally getting into every semantic, every nitpicking, itty bitty, tiny micro-analysis detail. If she says the word if or the in the wrong way, like the whole Drew Barrymore thing, she goes on a Drew Barrymore show and she tells Drew Barrymore, there's a difference between jelly, jam, and fruit preserves. It is the content. It's having the seeds, the whole fruit. It's having pitted fruit versus equal amount of pitted fruit versus sugar, having a lower sugar content. That's what separates the three. And she goes on to actually accidentally call it jam herself. She's not perfect. People might think that she's trying to be perfect. I think that this is her trying to rebrand herself as this is who I really am. And I want people to see who I really am, because you haven't gotten a sense of that. You haven't been able to Harry married her for a reason. You have to trust the fact that he has the basic human right to pick the woman that he loves. He has the basic human right to marry who he loves. He has the basic human right to be with her and have a family. And they together have the right to do that. He didn't pick me. He didn't pick you. He picked her. And I'm okay with that. In fact, I wanted to love her in the beginning. And then, of course, their whole thing with the royal family life and all this stuff that was being said. How can you not believe what the British press is putting out? They're putting out negative stuff about her everywhere. But I don't blame them for also leaving. They have that, everybody. I mean, there's been kings that have abdicated because they were told they could not marry who they wanted to. And they said, F you, yes, I can. And yes, I will. But without getting into that, we're not going to talk about, the abdication and Wallace and all of that, because he still was getting paid by taxpayers for the rest of his life. He wanted to abdicate and he still wanted to have all the privileges, the luxury, the honor, all of it, of being a king. Because when you're raised a prince and you're going to be the next in line and you're not the spare and you're raised a prince, you are raised with everybody knowing that you're going to be the next king at some point or the next queen. But you just have that sense of entitlement. You have that in your mind. You have that ingrained in your personality already. It's an innate part of your character. So, of course, you can't expect somebody that's going to be king to not rebel and say, you know what, no, I'm not doing this. I'm going to marry who I want to. I'm going to marry who I love. It doesn't matter if she's twice divorced. I love her. I want to be with her. And I'm going to love her and be with her. And that's exactly what he did. A lot of people took problem in issue in the fact that he was still getting paid equal to over 30,000 American US dollars a month from his niece, who shouldn't have been queen. She became queen because her father had to pick up the slack and had to become king, and then therefore she did. It's a whole thing. But that's how it goes. That's how life goes. And so people have criticized them for leaving the royal family. Well, there's nothing more courageous than wanting a private life with your husband and children in the country, and to be a simple English woman, to live a simple, quiet life and still have the courage to say, despite my dreams, despite my hopes and my wants, and everything that I've wanted for the future, for my husband and me and my children, I'm going to put that all aside, because now I'm queen and now I have a higher obligation. I have an anointment by God to do this for my people and for 54 Commonwealth nations out of 195 on planet Earth that still are under the UK Commonwealth. And for her to do that and to do it for almost 75 years, There's nothing more courageous than that, because that was her letting go of her own dream, of her own vision of what her life was going to be like, what her future was going to be like. And that is the ultimate respect. Doing a job despite not wanting to do it. And not for yourself, but for the good of your people. So I definitely have an immense amount of respect for Queen Elizabeth, and the fact that she has granted over 18 Commonwealth nations their independence. Can't complain about that. But this just looks like it is a way to try to still, I'm Meghan Sussex now. I thought there was a whole lawsuit going on about them not being able to use the Sussex name anymore. They left the UK. That means that you don't get the titles anymore. That means that you shouldn't be using it. And last time I checked, Harry's title and name was not Sussex. His name was Windsor Mountbatten, correct? His last name is Mountbatten Windsor, or Windsor Mountbatten, because that's the one thing Queen Elizabeth went to Parliament and was absolutely adamant about, that she gave Prince Philip, that he wanted his children and wife to have his last name in some kind of way. But the fact that she was queen, she gave him that one thing, and I respect her for that. The fact that she respected her husband enough to do that. So the fact that there's this whole thing with her name is Sussex, that's like a title. That's not the name. Harry's last name is Mountbatten-Windsor. But if she really wanted to be inclusive, I think there was a few tips she could have done. Like, she could have brought on African-American soul food chefs, people that were not rich and famous already, or already have very expensive luxury brands or very expensive high-end luxury restaurants in and around LA or in California. You could have picked people that you didn't already know and forged friendships with through your husband's fame and notoriety. You could have done that. Like, you could have picked Hispanic people that do food trucks, people that work really hard at smaller restaurants. You could have gave them a platform. You could have picked African Americans who do barbecue in Memphis. You could have picked African American women who cook the entire seafood boil, or people from Louisiana who cook out of their kitchen and sell it on a cart. Those types of things would have been really cool, because those are the people that really bring joy to the homeless and people that bring joy to everyday people through humanitarian efforts. But that would be my biggest suggestion. But I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the show. That would be my one suggestion. That's what I would like to see. I want to see people that I don't know, people that I haven't seen. I want to see food that I've never made before. I want to see food and flavors that I've never tried, creations I've never seen. That's what's interesting to me. So to me, it was a little boring. It was a little dull, but I don't hate Meghan Markle. I don't think other people should hate her either. I think everybody should, especially the press in America, the press around the world, not just the British press, should give her a fair shake. And we know that they need money. Okay. We know it. It's alleged that King Charles still gives them about $3 million a year from the sovereign grant or from his own estate. I don't know. Private estate, private money that he was left. I don't know. But that is what is alleged. But it's the constant, from this American who's, trying to I'm from LA and this is what I grew up with. This is what I love. This is my whole thing. But why is she unveiling products that are so unique to the UK? This would have gone better if Prince Harry would have solely put his name on products like this and sold them as a British man, as the spare to the heir of the kingdom, of the United Kingdom, of Great Britain, of all the Commonwealth nations. This would have gone over better if he was selling these under his name, under a company, cookies, teas, jams, because he's British. It makes sense. But I think a lot of people just have an issue with it's just copying King Charles, literally. And it's copying what Highgrove has always done. He's always taking the gardens of Highgrove and any other properties that he has and turned it into something that can actually not just make money, but actually give back and feed people. And he does actually donate a lot of fruits and vegetables to soup kitchens and to the homeless. He doesn't just sell stuff. But I kind of like seeing a different side of Meghan. Yeah, maybe she should have opened up her home and been more transparent, but give her a... So I think everybody needs to just everybody needs to just give her a fair shake. I think the media needs to stop hounding her so bad. I think no other person has had every little thing they do or do not do under a microscope the way that she has. And it's not even compared to Princess Diana, because Princess Diana played the game with the press just as much as they did with her. She knew exactly what she was doing. She knew how to manipulate them. She knew how to use them to her benefit. She knew how to use them to hurt her own husband and to hurt the royal family. She knew how to rebrand herself. She knew how to make herself look good. And she did it by being herself. You cannot force anything else. You gotta be yourself. People are going to pick up on the fact that you are copying somebody else, that you are mimicking somebody else, that you are trying to be Diana 2.0. People are going to pick up on that. But I think that Meghan has her own identity, and she's very much aware that she's judged. She's very much aware that people are going to say things constantly about her and about her husband. I don't know what it is with people, but I just feel like, give her an opportunity. Give her a chance. Let her prove that she can be comfortable enough to be who she is. Because apparently she's still not there yet. So, do I love Meghan Markle? Absolutely not. Not at all. Am I a fan of hers? No. But show me who you really are. Be transparent. Be who you are. That's why Princess Diana was beloved. Her emotions, who she was. She didn't know how to be anything but who she really was. And that inauthenticity will show through. People will know, and they're not going to be receptive to it. No matter how many rebrands or deals that you do, they're all going to plummet. They're all going to go downhill. Okay. And if this is all for money, all for the rich, all to make the rich richer, nobody's going to be receptive to that. I'm poor. I have 5 kids, age 11 all the way up to 22. You want to give something away for free? Give it to me. Give it to me. My kids will test it out for you in 5 minutes. They'll do a whole entire 2 years work of these experts telling you how to rebrand yourself. They'll tell you exactly what's good, what's not good. They'll tell you exactly what looks good, what doesn't look good in 5 minutes. They will tell you exactly what they like, what they don't like. They will tell you exactly what is sellable and what's not. Send it my way, Meghan. Send it my way, Harry. We'll let you know, and we'll give you a fair shake. We truly will. But as far as the press hate Meghan. People hate Meghan. They've always hated her since they started seeing her own actions, her own words, her own choices, and her own behaviors. But I don't need to be any more critical of her. It's irrelevant. I don't buy her stuff. I don't watch her. It's uninteresting. It's dull. It's bland. And it has absolutely nothing to do, because I don't have a luxurious lifestyle. I cook for what tastes good. I cook for what's fast. I cook for what's physically able for me to do it that day. I cook what my kids are going to eat and what tastes amazing. Boom, done. I'm not putting flour sprinkles on SHIT to make it look pretty. So, Meghan Markle, never been a fan, been overly critical of her in the past. But you know what I've realized? The press is already hard enough on her. And you know what? The American press, the worldwide press, the British press, they're so overly critical over the dumbest things. Content creators that don't like her have been overly critical, getting down to the nitpickiest, most micro analysis, most semantic over everything she does, every move she makes, everything she wears, doesn't wear, says, doesn't say. So Meghan Markle, I don't think the critics should give them any thought. Even me, even my opinion is to give it no thought, because we're not affecting her life in any kind of way other than her wanting us to purchase her stuff. But guess what? Either which way, she wins, because people are still watching the show, even if they're hate watching it, just to get little clips, to do commentary, and to just nitpick at her more. So it is what it is. But my biggest suggestion to Meghan Markle would be like, hey, just be yourself. Open up. Be yourself. Don't be anybody else. Don't try to be Diana. Don't try to be Prince Harry's wife. Don't constantly remind people that you're the mother of a British prince and princess. Don't remind people of the titles and all of that. Don't remind people of we broke from Britain in 1776. We had an entire Revolutionary War, of which John Russell was a general of. He's my 16th great grandfather. You know, we don't want that. We don't want to be sold British stuff. Okay. If we're going to buy British stuff, we're going to buy it from the British. The thing that makes Meghan Markle unique is the one thing that she's trying very hard to not be. That's what I don't like. You're mixed race. Accept it. Love it. It's fine. It doesn't make you who you are. But the thing that makes you who you are is the fact that you are mixed race, the culture, your heritage, growing up in California, being exposed to so much diversity. If you want to have diversity on your show, meet people that you don't know. Bring in people that you don't know. It's a rented cottage. It's not your real home. You're preserving your child's safety and privacy, and I expect nothing less. I expect nothing less than that. They're 5 and 3. Of course you should be doing that. Until they're old enough to make their own decision on whether or not they want to participate with the cameras or the press, that's their decision. But the whole thing is, bring people you don't know. Bring people that don't have a platform. Bring African-American women on that cook soul food in Louisiana. The seafood boils. Bring on African-American men who do barbecue at little hole-in-the-wall joints in Memphis. Just bring on something different. Bring people and learn something from them. Learn something from them. And I'm sure they'll learn something from you. Bring not these celebrities that own a really expensive brand or a really expensive restaurant just to say, oh, look at who I know because of my husband, and constantly bringing up the husband. Your husband's not there. We don't want to see him. We don't want to hear about him. We want to know Meghan, not the person who's good at spelling, the kid that wanted to get straight A's, the kid that wanted all the accolades and the awards and the credentials. We don't want to know that person. We want to know the real Meghan. You need to show us that. You got to be transparent, honest, and give us that. But if you want diversity, really go all the way in with real diversity. Not say, look I have this famous Korean chef. I have this famous, Japanese friend. I have this famous African-American friend. I have this famous Argentinian friend who are all rich, wealthy, and have luxury brands or luxury restaurants. We don't want to see that. Do something different. Use your platform for good. Use it for people who are starting a business, who are up and coming, people like that. Give back to them. Give back to their communities. Give back to their restaurant, all of that. So I'm not going to be an extra critic for Meghan Markle because I don't need to be. Her shows are relevant to me, but I still gave it a chance and I still watched it and I still said, it's not all that bad. It's really not all that bad. She's showing that she's human. She is human. She's allowed to make mistakes. And whether or not people like to accept it, the fact is, she is by marriage allowed to do this. She is married to Prince Harry. She is allowed to use their royal titles because they're allowed to do that. She is the mother of a prince and princess. So her trying to rebrand and do this is not necessarily a bad thing. She has every right to do this. She is a duchess. She is married to Prince Harry. She is the mother of Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. So this is not like some pauper or some peasant off the street trying to rebrand and do this. This is Harry's wife. Okay. And if she wants to do something along the lines of a royal brand or a royal line, then hey, give her every chance to do it. But I just want to read this because it reminds me of this really quick. Jesus looked at his disciples and said, "Happy are you poor, the kingdom of God is yours. Happy are you who are hungry now, you will be filled. Happy are you who weep now, you will laugh. Happy are you when people hate you, reject you, insult you, and say that you are evil, all because of the Son of Man. Be glad when it happens and dance for joy, because a great reward is kept for you in heaven. For their ancestors did the very same thing to the prophets. But how terrible for you who are rich now, you had your easy life. How terrible for you who are full now, you will go hungry. How terrible for you who laugh now, you will mourn and weep. How terrible when all people speak well of you. Their ancestors said and did the very same things about false prophets, judging others. Do not judge others, and God will not judge you. Do not condemn others, and God will not condemn you. Forgive others, and God will forgive you. Give to others, and God will give you. Indeed, you will receive in full measure a generous helping poured onto your hands, all that you can hold. The measure you use for others is the same measure that God will use for you." And despite people not liking Meghan Markle, she's not Casey Anthony, she's not Gypsy Rose Blanchard, she's not the Menendez brothers, she's not people who live with the worst sin and crime that you can commit. Okay. And even then, I have given Gypsy Rose a fair share. And I've never made fun of her face, her looks, her body, her disability, her deletion chromosome disorder, any of that. But her actions, words, choices, behaviors, and her choices of haircut and clothes, that's a different story. But Meghan Markle didn't take anybody's life. Okay. Give her a fair shot.